Scott Conway, PhD, JD, crazy resume with mothersraisingsons.com, talking about my proprietary 4P360 leadership system and the 360-degree leadership with a double O feature. And what the heck is a double O feature? Now, when you're dealing with 360-degree leadership, traditionally, 360-degree leadership is leading down, leading across, and leading up. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we get into this 360-degree leadership. But first, a little bit of a story. How did this end up at mothersraisingsons.com? Because what 4P360 leadership is, it is my proprietary leadership system that I teach to corporations. Now, a corporation can send a leader or two leaders over to train with me. That'll certify them to be able to teach this in their company for a year. Or they can come send their people to me, or I can come to the corporation. I can teach this at the company or at a corporate retreat. So there's all sorts of ways to get various aspects of this, and it's divided up into 5 separate days of training, depending which particular aspect you're talking about, always applying the 4 pillars, and applying the 4 pillars in any of the 360 degree of the leadership directions. And it's a little bit broader than the traditional down, sideways, and up. How this came about is I was in Chicago. Now, I live in San Diego. I'd gone to Chicago on business. And so I'm at a business expo, I'm at some VIP trainings, and then at a weekend business event. And I'm there as an executive coach, as a business consultant, as a business attorney, as one of the trainers. And so I'm operating in these various capacities, very tightly related capacities. And as one of the sessions, I'm sharing, of course, about leadership and about the 4P360 leadership. And it came up, of course, that I am also doing mothersraisingsons.com, and that's sort of my personal thing. And it doesn't necessarily connect directly with business, although obviously business women would be very much interested in this sort of thing. And a simple question got asked, like, well, didn't I just hear you say parenting is leadership? So do you teach this leadership with your parenting stuff, with that Mothers Raising Sons thing? And I had to admit that it hadn't actually occurred to me. Because the 4P360 is a proprietary leadership system, and with what I typically charge for a day of training, with what I charge for the certification, for the trainings there, it's much higher than the charge I do for the Mothers Raising Sons material. So it hadn't really occurred to me to take this really much more expensive material and much more proprietary material and bring it into Mothers Raising Sons and to kind of fold it in there. Even though all of the techniques that I teach are consistent with the 4P360, I don't specifically train you in that 4P360 leadership system. And so at least this much as a sort of an introduction to the principles is being offered in. And honestly, I'm kind of debating what I'm going to do, maybe in a second tier, or after someone's done the deep heart of parenting and the VIP level of the transformation in the deep heart of parenting, I might consider opening up a 4P360 Mothers Raising Sons version of it. I haven't actually decided yet, but for right now, I'm giving you what the 4 pillars are, and I'm talking about what the 360-degree leadership is. So 360-degree leadership with a double O feature, the 3 traditional directions of 360-degree leadership is leading down, leading across, and leading up. Leading down is what we normally think of as leadership. Is you're the boss, and then you have people that are supposed to follow you. You're the parent, you have your children in this particular case. Leading across is when you don't have line authority, when these people are your peers. So when you're leading your peers as people that you can't control them, you don't have the authority, you can't hire them, you can't fire them, you can't penalize them in any kind of a meaningful way. They're your equals. And how do you lead them? And then leading up is leading the person who has authority over you. And so that is the traditional limits of the 360-degree leadership. When you apply the 4 Ps, when you have the people that follow you, if you are powerful, what you do really works, that you're practical, that you accomplish the goal without having negative unintended consequences, that you're principled, the things that you do work, and they work for a reason, and you can adjust and adapt them to special situations and to individual unique things going on, and it's positive. You're focused on where you are going, not what you're trying to get away from. And it is positive in that it's connecting, it's relationship building, it is honoring, it is kind, it is respectful. And then you build that relationship. So you're not just leading because they have to follow you. They want to follow you. They want to connect with you. They appreciate the way that you do things. Leading across is very much the same. These people don't have to listen to you. So it's powerful. The stuff that you do really works. It's practical. It's going to accomplish the goals without damaging other stuff. It's principled, so it works, and it works for a reason, and it can be tweaked and adapted based upon the individual situations of kind of the sideways leader. And of course, it's positive. It's focused on what you do want, not what you don't want. It builds the connection, it builds the relationship, it builds the respect. That's going to work sideways because these people don't have to follow you. They don't have to listen to you. They don't have to obey you. And then there's leading up. Now, leading up is like leading your boss and the specific techniques that you use to be a leader with and for your boss, to help your boss lead, to lead on behalf of your boss, to take stuff off the leadership plate of your boss because you're handling a lot of the things that otherwise your boss would have to handle. Now, that's relevant to the parenting when we get to the double O feature, because if you understand the lead up, sideways, and down, even as the mom. Now, if you have a traditional patriarchal, hierarchical power structure and the man of the house really, he's in charge, and then you're like subordinate to him in some way, shape, or form, and it's kind of less egalitarian, it's less partnership, and it's more him in charge, and you just do what he says. All right, well, then maybe you have a boss at home. Honestly, to be perfectly frank, that's not my recommended structure. But I honor the cultures of other people, and if that's what you two have decided, and you have decided to be subordinate to him at that level where he's basically the boss, then that's your choice to make. You're an adult. I always say adults get to make up their own mind, and then that's okay. But then how do you lead in that situation? And you get one of the classics of, well, the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head wherever she chooses. And so there is that too, which then of course you're back to being egalitarian, where he gets the final say, gets to make the decision, but she kind of knows how to play the game to get him to make the decision that she wants him to make. And so, and that is a form of 360-degree leadership. It may not necessarily follow all four of the pillars, but, you can see how that works sometimes. So we're going to talk more about the 360-degree leadership with the double O feature. And why even as the mom, when you have more of a partnership with the dad, or you are the sole authority, and so you in any event, but you don't have someone over you that's your boss. You might have a peer, maybe other moms, maybe a partner, maybe your spouse, maybe the dad, and that you don't have the authority there, and he doesn't have authority over you. And the leading down, leading the people you do have authority over, but getting that whole system down as a mother. Even if you don't have the boss, understand how you lead up, because that's going to be important when we get to the double O feature in the very next lesson. So this is Scott Conway of mothersraisingsons.com, sharing a little bit about my proprietary 4P 360 leadership system.